Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never thought about space in my cramped apartment, but in this house, all I see is empty space. The sofa and ottoman look like tiny islands in a sea of hardwood floors. I could get 2 ottomans in the living room, but then I'd need another sofa. I could tell people I'm into minimalism.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. The good news is therapy works. But what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you want it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help. Or maybe you're feeling insecure in relationships or at work, not dealing well with stress. Whatever you need, it's time to stop being ashamed of normal human struggles and start feeling better because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. And a special offer to ImmaLetYouFinish listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/ImmaLetYou, ImmaLetYou. That's betterhelp.com/ImmaLetYou, ImmaLetYou. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast.
What's up, everybody? It's ImmaLetYouFinish on the Pantheon Podcast Network. It's show 106 with your peoples, Court and Amy. It's summer. It's my motherfucking birthday week, and it's Leo season. Hello.
Wasn't 106 the temperature it was averaging in New York the past week?
Let me just tell you something. And I like it hot. I do. I love hot weather. Everybody knows. It's been really hot.
No, it's been really hot.
But we can't even talk about it because everywhere else, it's really been hot. I keep speaking to my friend Stacy in Vegas. She's like, 12 degrees, dying. And then my mother's in Virginia. It's like 100 or something degrees. So, whenever it gets hot in the city, we're all like, oh, my God. But I will say.
It was hot.
It's been, it's been good for the beaches and outside activity because I spent most of it kind of just sitting outside, and even though it was hot, I appreciate it.
That's good of you. It's still hot, but it's summer and it's just going to get worse. So yay!
Yeah, I'm a summer baby, so for me, and you're the beginning of summer baby, but you're not.
No. This is not summer baby. This is talking about. I'd say I actually read a really interesting article that said how summer used to always be a time for kids, this and that and freedom and outdoors, and now, and we'll get into touch briefly on this, but summer now represents fires and heat stroke and death because it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter every year. So it's like, don't go outside, it's too hot. But anyway, let's talk about something good that happened in the summer last weekend, something positive, which was unannounced. Joni Mitchell appeared at the Newport Folk Festival, the revered Newport Folk Festival in beautiful Newport, Rhode Island, where I got my very first tattoo, not at the Folk Festival, but in Newport. And it was the first time she'd been there, I believe, in 51 years, a very long time. And the clips are all over the internet. Have you watched any of them? Well, obviously you've watched them. You posted
completely. As soon as I saw, first of all, I love Joni Mitchell. So as soon as I saw, I was flicking past something and I was like, that looks like Joni Mitchell on the stage. Then I went back, I was like, holy shit, Joni Mitchell's on the stage. Oh, and she's singing. Work. And, Brandy Carlisle put together an all-star tribute, and people didn't realize Joni was going to be there, and they set it up like her living room, so she was seated, and all the singers who sang with her, everybody was seated. And it was just great to, see her and great to hear her. And, she had that aneurysm in 2015 and, we didn't think she would perform again. So it was really nice to see her. And she, listen, the words legend and icon are thrown around way too easy to many people. She really is both of those things, so it's great to always see the legendary kid still on stage. And it was great that no one knew it was going to happen. And there she was. I love the idea of that.
Look, it was very likely that people thought she would never perform again for good reason. She mentioned in an interview that she had to look on YouTube and reteach herself how to play guitar, which is even harder to learn how to play guitar again than singing. And yes, obviously her voice has changed because she's a chain smoker, so her voice was changing anyway. And she went through a very, very serious medical condition, and she's not young, and things happen. The only thing I find really weird about this, and it's a wonderful event, and the poignancy of an older woman who has come very close to death several times in her life, because she's also a polio survivor, singing Circle Game and Both Sides Now. I mean, there is a poignancy to that. And to see Winona Judd, who just went through the suicide of her mother, singing with her. The only thing that kind of drives me a little kind of like eye-rolling about the way this is all being couched is this idea that Joni Mitchell is finally getting the praise she deserves. No one has ever... Joni Mitchell has always been a revered artist. So I just find it kind of, maybe for the new generation, oh my God, it's like, she's not someone who is no one ever talks about her in so that part, but I will let that slide.
No, it's lazy. It's a lazy.
Yeah, right?
Lazy.
Okay.
She was just given a Kennedy Center honor a couple of years ago. She just got it. Joni Mitchell has been revered since she came out.
Right.
I mean,
basically.
and that never. Well, even through the records that people did not like and they weren't commercially successful, she was still always treated as Joni Mitchell.
Well, I will say one thing though: she was not treated with the same majesty as the men were.
But that's two different conversations,
right? But I'm saying that she was always considered a serious, important artist. So, but that's a generational thing, and it's such a small little hiccup in an otherwise beautiful performance. If Brandi Carlile wants to be the guardian of Joni Mitchell's legacy, then go for it, Brandi. Yep. Because if she can do it, then go for it. I'm all for it.
Keep it alive. Let people discover this catalog. Look, it's like Kate Bush, right? Kate Bush is now number 3. It's gone back up. It's number 3 in the U.S. If people are going to discover, if it's going to take that one little thing, I'm all for it because these are important artists, and I'm glad that they're still a part of the conversation in such a way.
Yeah. All right. The Mercury Prize brought to you by Heinz Ketchup, right? It's sponsored by somebody, right? The Mercury Prize brought to you.
Yes, always. It used to be Hyundai. For years, it was Hyundai, the Hyundai Mercury Prize. And now
it's like music now.
And it was Barclays card Mercury Prize. It was something, but a couple of our favorites are up. Yeah. Listen, so Harry.
There's 12 nominees, right? Should we just read them off real quick, or do you want to?
Yeah.
All right, where are they? Amy, where'd you do with the Mercury Prize? Oh, I lost them. Do you have them? I lost the Mercury Prize.
I have it right here. Okay.
I lost the Mercury Prize.
You lost the Mercury Prize. Okay, ready? It is Fergus McCredel for Forest Floor, Gwynno, Harry Styles, Jessie Buckley and Bernard Butler, Joy Crooks, Ken Joy Radical, Lil Sims, Nova Twins, Self-Esteem, Sam Fender, Wet Leg, and Yard Act. I mean, this is a strong competition.
It's a strong category. A lot of these artists are not as well known in the United States. All right, I'm going to make my prediction. I think Wet Leg might take it.
I think,
I think Harry saw. I mean, they tend to go
I don't think it'll be
quirky.
Harry. No, I don't think
it's going to be Harry.
Harry's going to win the Brits and all the mainstream awards. Right. He's not going to get the Mercury Prize because that's kind of like, I mean, it could be Little Sims.
Mm-hmm. But she's won before, right?
No, last year was Arlo.
Arlo Parks.
No, she won the Brit last year, and she won the Brit. I mean, so listen, it could be Sam Fender. That Sam Fender record
is
was
so
huge.
good.
Listen,
So good.
and Joy Crooks. There's some really great records.
There's some good things there, and
I would like to see Wet Leg snatch it. I would
like to see Wet Leg do it, and also for those of you who are Wet Leg and Harry Styles fans, his cover of Wet Dream, which is on the internet, is about as good a cover as you can.
But I did love that Joy Crooks record too. There's
no one bad. That's the thing. I'll give the Mercury this. There's never one of those like, are you kidding me?
No, it's always a really interesting cross
and representative. It's always very representative
Absolutely.
of. Well, and speaking of awards, of like an award, what if you gave an award show for something? The VMAs. Wow.
Let's give it out awards.
It's a TV show. Can we just first?
Well, you know what it is. I'll tell you.
Show.
It's the thing that happens every year. And even
it's this thing that happens every year.
None of the young people in my family, not one of them could tell you where MTV is on their channel. That's just the truth. They don't watch it.
Yeah.
They just don't watch it.
It's somewhere.
But people will watch the VMAs because it's that thing, right? And now it's more about, even less so on television, it's more about all of this pieces online and the repeat.
It's all the social media interaction and stuff.
So, the three highest nominees are Lil Nas X, Jack Harlow, and Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, Kendrick Lamar. Okay.
They all have 7. The people who have 6 are Harry, Doja Cat, and somebody else. So the awards are happening. The endings came this morning. Adele's got some nominations. Blah blah blah. Okay.
You know what's great? I didn't even know Alicia Keys put out an album this year. Did she?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be mean.
It was a double album, too. It was
Well, there you go.
And it was her last one on RCA. I believe now she's going to be an independent artist.
Great. The point is that the VMAs really has become a place like it's like, the People's Choice Awards or something. It's just, Normani, this is like, really? Again, Normani? Were they?
Right,
Yay. Great. I mean, great. Yay. Great. Seriously. It's live performances. The performances are fun.
Right.
There's always some special.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be about who wore what, who does their debut performance of something.
Right.
Maybe
who drags out who. Who drags out who.
Maybe if they're lucky enough, they'll get a really big star. Maybe they'll get a Beyoncé performance because she has a history. Like last time she performed on there, she did Formation. So she does have a history.
Is it New York or LA this year?
I didn't even look. Hold on, let's check.
I just want to know.
That's how much I was interested. I was
right.
like, oh,
I just want to know if the streets are going to be closed down because when they shut my neighborhood down when it's in New York.
They do shut your neighborhood down when it's in New York. Wait, hold on, let's see.
Doesn't even say.
Where is it? So Reasons Alonzo, a little like, where the hell is it?
Oh well. Maybe they're not even putting on a show. Maybe it's just in a soundstage somewhere.
I mean, we could.
Anyway. All right. It doesn't. We'll figure that out. All right. This is something that I.
Oh my God! Hey, Wendy. Wendy Plout still works at MTV. I used to work with Wendy at MTV. Hey, Wendy. It's funny to see these names. I'm like, oh my God, Alice.
All right. So let's just talk briefly about. So in case you have been napping, the world is on fire, literally, and climate change, unless you're a Republican, you're aware of the fact that the world is on fire and Europe has never been hotter and there's literally fires everywhere. So because of those fires, Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder, what was it? He had throat condition because of the fires and they had to cancel a couple of European dates.
Yeah, they performed in France and his vocal cords got damaged from that show, from the smoke and the air. And
all right, so that's just to show that there are some upsides of climate change. That Eddie Vedder, that Pearl Jam has to cancel dates. I think yay, climate change.
That's terrible, Amy.
They're a horrible band. Come on.
That's even bad for you.
No.
What's wrong with Pearl Jam?
What isn't wrong with Pearl? Should we start going? He's the worst part about Pearl Jam. He's an overwrought, histrionic singer. So I'm sorry he's sick. He doesn't have cancer. He's got... his throat hurts, and I'm very sorry, and I'm more sorry that the world is on fire, but him having, we did you a favor, but, he's horrible. They're a horrible band. Nobody likes Pearl Jam, Courtney.
Horrible band. Overwrought, horrible. Them and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, all of them. Horrible, horrible.
Who
bands.
are on a sold-out stadium tour right now, their first ever in their career,
Whatever.
and they just announced a double album coming.
Yay.
Speaking of coming, Adele is actually coming. I Can Eat Crow. She actually rescheduled the dates, which, of course, all of the people who bought the original tickets, their tickets work for these new dates. So essentially, anything that's available for those shows, you're going to pay through the nose. I saw that tickets for her opening night show are going for $40,000 on StubHub, and she added 8 new dates. So if you love Adele, she'll be in Vegas from November to March. Good luck, yay, Merry Christmas. What's next?
Well, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, she's going to put on the shows. We'll see how they are. I mean, I've heard she's a really good live artist. I think it'll be interesting. And she, I never thought she would not do it. I think that she is not.
I thought it was a Fugees number. I thought it was we were going to be Fugees.
No. She is way more. There's way less moving parts in Fugees. You're not dealing with that much ego as you do with the Fugees. I think she's somebody who was aware that all eyes are on her in type of thing. So I'm glad she's doing it. And people.
Can I say, and I love Adele. I'm not anti-Adele. I love Adele, but
I know.
I've turned down tickets to her concerts more because as much as I adore her and I think she'd probably be great, I haven't had this burning desire to see.
Right.
I mean, maybe if I saw her sing on an award show or something, I'd be happy. I mean, I've met her. She's very, very nice. And I'm sure she sounds great. But I was like, I don't really care.
Yeah, well, there's just some people,
But you know me, I love a really good singer. I don't need all of the flash and all of that. I really do. I don't know why. It's like, why am I not excited about this Lady Gaga tour, right?
Because
I love
she's
Gaga.
Because Lady
I've
Gaga
seen her several times. And she's great, but she's great live. But I don't know.
I feel like
I've seen it. Yeah, that's
right. You've seen it. That's what I'm saying. It's the same reason you don't fall in love for the first time over and over and over again. It's like you don't. If you've seen somebody before and they were great, as we get older, we're very happy to be content with the memory of that was great, and we don't need to replicate it over and over and over again. So that's my philosophical. That's what meditation has taught me, Courtney. All right, so we want to talk about old people in shows. So there's this huge. I'm of two minds of this, but I'll just sort of set up this. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band are going on their first tour in, I think, over a decade. So it's a big deal. They're doing a world, a U.S. tour, stadium tour. And the tickets are part of this whole Ticketmaster dynamic pricing thing, which is just a ridiculous bait and switch. It's like Vegas pricing.
Bullshit. It's such bullshit.
It's Vegas pricing. But there has been, to the point, the backlash has been to the point where Ticketmaster had to issue a response saying that only 11% of the tickets are through this ridiculous thing. This is my feeling about it. First off, the consumer has the power. If you don't want to pay for these things, then you boycott it, and companies will eventually. That's number one. But I think that the reaction has been so fervent for this because it's Bruce Springsteen, because this has been going on for a while. Harry Styles tickets are doing this. Paul McCartney just toured with the same pricing dynamic. People are still under the delusion that. And I saw Bruce Springsteen in 1975 at CW Post College. So
Did he still the blue collar guy who?
That they still think that Bruce Springsteen is like one of the boys, and he is a very smart man. I know people who have worked with him said he's a fantastic guy. But if you still think that Bruce Springsteen, I mean, he's best friends with Barack Obama, for crying out loud, who is also not one of the guys, by the way. Bruce Springsteen has been
His daughter's an equestrian.
Yeah, exactly. Bruce Springsteen's daughter is an Olympic equestrian. This is not a sport that the poers go into, okay? No. And there's nothing wrong with this. He earned his money, but I read his memoir, and the funniest thing in and it's a very good book, but his whole, cars and the whole thing. Bruce Springsteen didn't have a driver's license until he was in his 30s. It's a persona. This is he is from the working class. He did grow up rough and tumble. So to take it personally that Bruce Springsteen, who is not setting these prices, I'm not saying he couldn't do something about it, but it's like, he's not your boy. He's Bruce Springsteen.
But if you as the artist you have to say yes to something like dynamic pricing.
Steven Van Zandt has said.
But Steven Van Zandt is I'm talking about Bruce Springsteen. No one's coming to Steven Van Zandt about what are the prices and what is this going to be on your tour. I'm talking to somebody who's worked on that side of it.
Right.
The artist has to say, okay, we can do dynamic pricing. You're going to know. You're going to talk about all those kind of things. Like, these are going to be the VIP seats. This is what this is going to be. All of that. Because it's all your money, ultimately. You know what I mean? So my problem with it is you already have an expensive ticket. You want to sell VIP experiences, do that. People don't have any problem if you say, hey, here's a $4,000 VIP ticket. But if the tickets are priced between $50 and $399 on fucking show day when the tickets go on sale, that's what it needs to be. And if Ticketmaster has an issue with resellers, then they should stop being part of the resellers. Because now listen, you and I have talked about this. We both have been very fortunate people that we don't normally pay concert tickets. You know what I mean? That's just a fact since the 90s. But I will go in there and look when things are going on sale, and I will go 5 minutes after something is going on sale and immediately be pushed to resell tickets on Ticketmaster. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy. This is showing you that regular people are not able to access these tickets. Figure that out with these bots. You can find software to pull my song down from any of these things within 2 seconds of it hitting anything.
Right.
But
they can't figure this out.
Figure out bots buying up all the tickets and then immediately reselling them for hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Well, that's the issue. I mean, so to me, that's exactly it. The issue is a bait and switch and corporate greed.
Yep.
And this is where the consumer has the power. Because yes, I understand you want to see Bruce Springsteen or whoever. I do think that this is getting so much attention now because it's him. Because I didn't hear this same screaming and yelling when Paul McCartney went on tour. Right. Same kind of saying. And it is an event.
Yeah.
And
the funny thing is, it's from his fans who are also really wealthier fans and have
there's
money,
that
because
too.
they all went to see him on Broadway, and those tickets on Broadway were like $1,200 a ticket.
Yeah, and they were crazy.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand everybody getting upset. They got upset because those tickets were hitting like $5,000. And then Ticketmaster came back and put a cap on it, saying like the tickets can't go for more than like $2,000 something. Because that's what it is. And like, why should I pay $5,000? Because if those tickets were $2,000, we probably wouldn't even be having this discussion because they would have just bought them for $2,000.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so the whole dynamic pricing thing is a very bait and switch, very Vegas pricing. It's like Priceline.
And it's bullshit because people want to go to the show. So you're like, well, it's a supply and demand. On day one of any ticket, everybody's coming to buy tickets. So to try to say supply and demand is it's a full bait and switch.
Total.
Of we can make more money because we know you are all trying to get these tickets on the day.
Well, this is why, and obviously we know touring costs have gone up for very many reasons, but this is why the consumer, I mean, consumers have power. If you want you boycott something. If people just for a second, and I understand you want to go see Bruce Springsteen, but guess what? Just don't buy the tickets. Now, that's never going to happen because Americans are not, think that boycotts are socialism or something like that. But don't buy the tickets, and I'll guarantee you, if people stop buying things, suddenly the policy would change. But yeah, it's an effed up policy. It's exploitive. It's very craven. People have to stop playing into it. We'll see how it pans out. I mean, there's been enough backlash, but I do, like I said, and it's because it's him, and he represents something that, quite honestly, he is not anymore. And you would think his management is super smart. He
hasn't been since the 1980s.
Well, I'm saying since Born to Run. 1980s? 1980? When Born to Run, when he was on the cover of Time Magazine and Newsweek, I think his days of collecting food stamps were over. And this is not a diss. He has every right.
It's very factual.
Every right.
I think people, because he wore jeans, they were like, see?
Yeah. He looked like an old boyfriend of mine. We were like, It's never every right. He comes from the working class. He has
He's a
not
really
been
nice
the working.
guy. I've met him.
He's a really nice guy, and he's a good artist, and he's a good person. But the thing is that to sit there, all the thing of like, Bruce Springsteen, you should know better, the working man. He's not the working man. He's Bruce Springsteen, for
And
Christ's
neither
sake.
are you guys who still buy his records.
Well, there's that too.
So please stop.
Yeah, please stop. You're working in Briarcliff Manor.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I live in Bedford. This is really ridiculous. I can't be paying this amount.
Right. I can't pay Muffy's tuition and Bruce Springsteen tickets.
You know what I'm saying? I have a kid in NYU, a kid in Columbia, a kid in Tulane.
I mean,
what
really?
am I supposed to do?
Tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Come on. Fun fact, I sung a Bruce Springsteen song at my high school graduation. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay.
No problem. For no good reason. All right. So we talked a lot about these artists who do effed up things and then are punished. And I'm putting that in big quotation marks. But gee, what a miracle. It seems that if you're a man, especially, if you do something egregious or offensive or awful, just give it, what did we say? Did we set our clocks to 6 months for some of these guys? Did we give them a year? Just set your timer and eventually all will be forgiven. So Morgan Whalen is back. That was fast, right?
Well, no, you know what? Honestly.
What, and is it Lil Baby or Dub Baby? Who's the bad baby?
The baby.
Dub Baby's the bad baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dub Baby is back. Travis Scott is working his way back now.
But I believe everybody has the right to come back and work their way back. This is America. You make mistakes. Shit is fucked up. But I think people have to be allowed to make a living. You know what I mean? And there's an audience for people. They have people who love them. And I do think you have to let people get back to work. Depending on, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? You said something offensive that people didn't like. Okay? It's fucked up. You get spanked. You get sent to the corner for a little bit. But I also don't think you should not be able to make a living and support. It's like the R. Kellys of the world. That's a different thing. If you doing something that physically is bringing harm and danger and trauma to somebody, that's a different thing. You know what I mean? But saying something stupid, it's like, yeah, you said something stupid. It's really dumb. But I don't think that should mean you can't ever work again. It's like, because we all have the choice. You can choose not to listen to any of these. And that's what I choose to do. If I don't like you, I just don't listen to you. I don't think you should not be able to exist. You just don't have to get played in my house.
Well, the difference, I agree to an extent, but the thing is that we should always remember that the only artists who have suffered long-standing career retribution are women. Kathy Griffin is still persona non grata in the entertainment business. The Dixie Chicks, we're still, now they may not have been able to make a comeback because time has gone and things have changed, but it's the women or I cannot think of one male artist who has. Louis C.K. got a Grammy. Dave Chappelle continues to do what Dave Chappelle does. The Baby, all these guys, nobody has ever, unless they've broken the law, obviously. But nobody has ever paid a real price for anything. And I'm not saying they should, but none of them have, except for the women artists. So that's the thing that
that's a bigger societal issue.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what just makes me so, because you can get up there and say unbelievably homophobic, racist stuff, but if you're a man, it's all good. So yes, that's a bigger problem. But that's just troubling to me.
Yeah, they really tried to destroy Kathy Griffin.
They did it.
They
did it. They really did it. That's why I'm saying when people rant and rave about cancel culture, the only people who ever get canceled are liberals and progressive thinkers. I have never seen what conservative has ever lost their job for real over what they're saying or what they're doing. I can't think of anybody, Donald Trump, anyway, so I agree that you should be allowed. I don't think any of these guys are in any way contrite about what they've done. I don't think they give a fuck. I think they just got away with it because men get away with stuff, but life goes on. I'm not fans of any of theirs, so it'll be fine.
Well, no, I think, Oregon, when that happened, his album stayed #1, but there was a cost for that. And even DaBaby, and like he's coming back, but the people who love him were never upset with what he said, right? But there was a little bit of a cost for that. And I think sometimes there's a cost, but you should be allowed to just come back. And I also feel like if you stand by what you said, stand by what you said. Again, we all have choices. We could be like, I don't fuck with him. And I do think Travis Scott, it was really unfortunate what happened at his event, but he should be able to get back to work. Because fucking Live Nation has never stopped working, and Live Nation was the co-runner of that event, and they seem to have gotten off the hook, and everything has fallen down on him. Like, perfect example, and I know this is off the cuff, you don't watch this show, but I've been seeing all of this energy. Like, I don't watch it either. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills surrounding Erica Jane and the thing with her husband, and I find it interesting that everything is like, I don't think the way she's handled it, trying to fight for the presents she said she was giving, or the jewelry that was bought with ill-gotten gains, I think that was a really bad move. But her husband had a whole law firm, and I don't feel like anybody's throwing the aim at them. They just kind of say his wife, like, she knew that he was stealing. Like, what about all those men that worked at his law firm with him, those law partners? Like, I feel like, how are they not in just as much trouble if all of these egregious happening? It's very weird. Like, I do notice that women get a boulder thrown at them. When men get a boulder thrown at them, there's somebody to punch the boulder and it turns into a bunch of little pebbles. But women seem to get steamrolled by that boulder, and every bit of their action is really analyzed and microanalyzed and looked at and broken down in ways that they kind of don't do for the men. Men do seem to get that forgiving moment.
Course. Yeah, but her emails, okay?
Right. Right. And meanwhile, the Secret Service is erasing texts.
Right. Yeah, so,
to protect one man, they're erasing texts.
It's Tuesday morning. I'd like to make it throughout the week without having a full-out rage attack. All right, let's talk about something that everybody can agree with is wonderful and amazing and beautiful, and that is the summer of Bad Bunny.
Who saw that coming?
Obviously,
actually, he's been building and building and building.
Building.
But this album is #1 for a 6th week. That's really incredible. The way all of this shit works, and streaming equivalent units.
And he's in a new movie too, right?
He's gonna be in a Marvel film. So it is.
No. He's also in a Brad Pitt movie that's coming out now. Bad Train or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Bullet Train.
Oh, he is in that. Right. Listen, Summer of Bad Bunny, right? Summer of Bad Bunny and Harry Styles, whose album is.
But the Harry Styles thing is that no, the Harry Styles thing is undeniable. But I'm saying the Harry Styles thing, in terms of, that's not unexpected. In that, let's be honest, he's an Anglo artist. That the fact that we have a #1 album in this country, and it's not only Spanish-speaking kids that are buying Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
It's across the board. Now, I don't speak Spanish, and I was speaking to a friend of mine who is Venezuelan, who is a musician who produces Latin acts. And he said kids will tell him Bad Bunny's lyrics, and I've looked at them, are extraordinary. So the fact that he is appealing to so many people without us really understanding what he's saying speaks to just his inventiveness and his whole. I just like his whole vibe. I like that he's sort of doing his own thing. He's in his own lane.
He's a star.
Yeah, he's got that charisma.
It's that thing that you can't teach that. You can't put somebody in dancing and singing school. They can't get that.
No.
You're born with it.
Right. And that he's not singing in English. I admire that, because the pressure must be on for him to start singing in English.
Well, this is album like number 3 or 4, right? And it's been building from each record. And, sometimes people feel that pressure, like, you want to break out in America. Do you want to have that worldwide audience?
The Shakira thing.
You need an English language record. And I'm glad, like you, I'm happy that is not what he has done. And he is having success. And
he's interesting. He's an interesting guy. I've seen him interviewed in his shows so it's a really, it's sort of, it gives you sort of, not to be all like deep about it does sort of give you hope sometimes, because we're one of the only countries where people don't speak lots of languages. You go to other countries, people speak several languages, in Europe especially. And it's nice that in this age where we're demonizing people and making, others out of people, that the biggest pop star right now, well, there's two big pop stars. One is a predictable pop star in Harry Styles. And, let's be honest, he's fantastic, but he's a good-looking white guy. I mean, that's not like, oh, shocking, a good-looking white guy is a pop star. But that Bad Bunny, it's comforting in a way. It gives you kind of hope. And the music's great. That's the main thing. It's not shit music. It's really, really great, and he's fun. So yay, Bad Bunny. It's Bad Bunny summer. We didn't have a hot vac summer. We have a hot bunny summer.
And congrats to Lizzo for having her second number one on the Hot 100 with About Damn Time. It has gone to its number one this week, and that is a big accomplishment. We love that. We love that. We love that. Yay,
what do you think? All right, but let's talk about the album. Come on. What do you think of the album?
I think it's cute. You know what I mean? It works for me. It's cute. It's fine. You know what I mean? It's not the best album I've ever heard, but it's also not the worst. And it's also not made for 50-something-year-olds.
No, that's not true. That's no.
No, because
I don't think that's fair.
Certain music to me strikes as younger music, and certain music sounds like anybody can hear it. Like when I heard Dua Lipa's album, that didn't seem young to me. That just seemed like a fun dance pop record. When I listen sometime to Lizzo's lyrics and stuff, and I know that could be encompassing for everybody, but to me, they just feel young.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I think Lizzo's got a great voice. I like the whole Lizzo-ness of it. I just wish at this point we're like 3 albums in now, 2 albums in, and it's like, it's the same story over and over and over again. I appreciate that she's about empowerment. I think there's a kind of weird like, oh, look at I'm speaking not as myself. I'm speaking at people who look at her like, oh, look, she's really big and she's happy about it. Like, that's obnoxious to me.
Right.
Not that she's saying it, that people, but I just would like to hear an album for her that is more of like, I deserve love, I have love, which is not to say those aren't valid things, but it just, her music sometimes sounds like this kind of very limited TED Talk.
Which is why when I said to you it feels young to me, because as you know, as you get older, even with all the insecurities, I had a bunch of insecurities about myself, but you come to just love yourself, hopefully, in a way, as you get older, and see yourself in a different way where you express it differently. Right. And you say things differently, right? It's just that lived life experience. So, it's fine.
I see what you're saying.
So, you know what I mean? That's why it reads like young to me, like still trying to work some things out. And, she is a younger person. So she's probably still trying to work. And it's coming out through her art. And listen, it's better than that Rumor song that she tried to do with Cardi B, which was So
no, it's garbage.
As long as it wasn't that, I'm like, you're already looking up. You get a chance to listen to Brent Faiyaz?
I did. Now, it's funny because a couple of months ago I was subbing somewhere. We're talking about music, and a couple of kids mentioned him. I did. All right, so here's... I am somebody... I like a vibe, but I also need a song. And I think that this is, you can hear hip hop's influences in R&B in 2 ways. You hear it in the obvious Mary J. Blige hip hop soul kind of, early 90s kind of vibe, the D'Angelo, the, R. Kelly, for better or for worse, Jodeci, that kind of stuff. And then you hear it in these newer guys. And I think that he's got a good voice and the stuff is interesting, but I'm going where's your songs here? It's almost like the singing equivalent of what's going on. Like hip hop has become R&B and R&B has become hip hop. Because the rappers that are big right now are sing-songy too. I mean, this kind of meandering sing-songy. So I think he's very talented. I think it's really interesting that he is somebody who has built a completely stealth rise because he's not... You don't see him. And
he's independent, and this is his
first number record, 2 album, right?
This is his first record in the top 10. Very happy for him. And he did a series of pop-ups, and some of them had to get shut down. So many kids showed up. So it shows you that if you're talented...
I think that's great. That's encouraging.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because that shows that you can still have to build that base to the people. They like you. They show up. They come. You know. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy.
No, I'm happy. I'm just saying that I'm going to listen to it again.
But to you, that you need more of song construction. It's not,
but that's me. That's my total, it's funny because in some ways I do, in some kind of, that's always been my issue with Solange. I'm like, where are your songs? I don't hear a song. I hear a lot of vibe.
And I love, and that's, and I love Solange's songs, and people don't understand why I'm not gaga goo over Frank Ocean. That's how I feel about him. I feel like it's a lot of vibe. There are some songs that I've liked, but I definitely don't have that thing that everybody else has.
I think that Frank Ocean, it's funny.
Even though he has immensely, I do think he's talented,
Yeah. No, I think it's funny because I was listening to the Steve Lacy record, and he also comes out of the internet too, right?
Well,
or is he Odd Wolf?
No, Odd Future is Frank Ocean.
And
the
Steve
internet
Lacy.
is Steve Lacy is the internet.
But they're all kind of the same collective.
No,
the internet they have some connection to each other. Earl Sweatshirt kind of goes back and forth between them. There is a sort of cosmic kind of connection between. But the point is that I was listening to Steve Lacy and I was like, love him or hate him, the Frank Ocean influence is very prevalent in these guys because these kids are so young that Frank Ocean might have been an influence for them, which is kind of crazy when you think about it because Frank Ocean is young. And I like the first two.
Listen, Frank Ocean can write a great song. I think he's really talented.
Yeah.
I've never loved a full Frank Ocean album. I like Channel Orange. I really loved his mixtape, Future
Nostalgia Ultra, the best thing he's done.
Ultra. Yeah, that
best thing.
Love. I played that shit into
death.
The ground.
Right.
So maybe that's why I've been so disappointed because that to me was such a high bar.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, this other stuff is fine, but I'm like,
a lot of it feels like navel gazing. A lot of it feels like the critics love me. I can do whatever the hell I want right now. And there's also the sense of like, come on, dude, it's been like a very long time. Like you're either that guy you're either an artist or you're a phenomenon, and we don't need phenomenons. But so I thought Steve Lacy was really, really good. I know that you've been telling me about the Mabel record.
This is his first top 10 record also. It debuted at number 7. This is first top 10. And that's higher than any internet album. The highest internet album was Hive Mind, and that was at number 26. So.
They're a really interesting group, internet. There's a lot of they're like the R&B Wu-Tang, like lot of people coming out of that.
Martins, the drummer, is my guy. That album he put out is
and Sid.
Good, yeah.
Sid is great. I told you I saw them open up for Gorillaz, and they were fantastic.
Yeah, they're really good live.
Really good.
They're musicians, man. It's really I love.
They feel like kids who were raised with parents who were playing music in the house. Right?
Absolutely. Or like have some parent that's a musician
who were session players, right?
They have that energy of That's really
like my dad was a session bass player kind of vibe. Yeah, they're
Stevie
really
Wonder's my uncle. It's that kind. It's that kind of energy.
Right. Oh, Donny Hathaway. Yeah, he's my godfather. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I just want to say I want to feel happy that I'm not the only one because I realize with your window closed, we don't have any air on during this.
No, I have.
I am sitting here. I'm sweating like a whole church, and I can see you're sweating too.
Oh, come on.
I am literally in here. I am wet.
I know.
My shirt is sticking
my
to
window
me.
is open, but my room, if I'm not directly under the fan, I'm also drinking hot coffee, and I'm also I come from a swarthy tribe.
And your window can be open because you live in the penthouse, so
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I live on the 4th floor, so if I have this window open right now, you're going to hear honks and.
Oh no, you'll hear stuff too. There's guys hanging off my building right now on scaffolding.
Oh, that's right. They're doing the work outside your building. How's that going?
Yeah.
Are they?
Who cares? I don't care.
Aren't you like the queen of the board? Aren't you the one that people yell at?
No. It has to be done, or the building will fall down and people will die. Yeah, you want that to happen. You want your buildings to be fixed. Let's get back to Mabel for a second, because I know you're a big fan of Mabel, who is, it's her second album, Mabel?
Her second album, About Last Night. Mm-hmm. And it's a dancey little club album. And listen, it's fun, clubby, dancey songs. If I was 20-something, this would totally be blaring out of my car at the beach this summer and dancing around with my friends. It's cute. And she's had her highest debut ever. The album debuted at number 2 on the British charts past week. So, the kids, the dance music moment is paying off a lot of people. And Lizzo had her highest debut with this album, with About Damn Time. It debuted at number 2 in the UK. Harry stopped it there. It debuted at number 2 in Australia, her highest debut there. Harry stopped it there. And,
that's her best friend too.
Right.
So.
Yep. Yeah, that's like her good buddy.
I love the Jessie Ware single. Now Jessie Ware is somebody who, talk about why isn't she a bigger star, but maybe she doesn't have to be. Every record is good. Every record is different. She started out first being kind of this kind of dream pop it was a very different vibe. She's gone more and more into a dance.
Well, she started dance. The first time we heard her voice, she was featured on a lot of different producers' dance records.
But
and then
that
she
first
made
album was kind of
the Devotion album was like,
Wildest Moments was kind of a moodier kind of vibe.
That's such a great Devotion. That's such a great and running.
Yeah, I love her.
I've
always liked her because she seems like a grown up too. From jump, she seemed like
I
a
love her
grown-up.
because she's abroad. She curses like a sailor. And,
British Jews, baby.
And,
British Jews.
Those are my kind of people. Somebody who sits back, who sings all pretty and stuff, but then when you talk to them, it's like, fuck shit, damn. I'm like, you're my kind of people.
Yeah, no, she's a good. So her new single is produced by Stuart Price, who has done Pet Shop Boys, Dua Lipa.
Confession on the Dance Floor.
Yeah. I like it a lot, but in some ways, this is going to sound so weird. It's almost, she's such a good singer that she almost doesn't need that much production, but it's still a great song. When you're working with Madonna, you need a lot of production. But when you're working with someone who's a great singer, without the production, you don't need that much bells and whistles. That said, the bells and whistles are great, and it's a great song, and it's a great lead-off song. If this
we're in the dance pop era, clearly, right? I mean, the dance pop house era, where everybody's pulling from not deep house catalog,
the pop house.
Now, I will say this:
Kathy Dennis. Are we coming back for a Kathy Dennis revival?
Well, Kathy Dennis would wait because Kathy Dennis has been writing all these fierce songs.
She writes for everybody,
people.
right?
Like she wrote "Toxic," she wrote "Can't Get You Out of My Head." Like she's written a lot.
Kathy!
That's Kathy Dennis.
Okay,
right.
So I shouldn't have the bake sale for Kathy Dennis. She's okay.
written a lot of shit. Kathy's doing all right. I mean, evidently this week, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you've heard, but Beyoncé might be putting an album out this week.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. Let me get back to you. I have to go check something. What?
Yeah. Can you believe it? I know. It's like, I think she's put...
I mean, there's been no advance word. There's been no build-up. There's been nothing. Wow.
Now, congratulations to...
I'm stunned, Courtney. You take... I can't
know,
even talk
crazy,
right now. I'm stunned. I know, I'm stunned.
Congratulations to Lady Knowles Carter, because Break My Soul is her biggest pop hit in years. It's in the top 10. But what made me more interesting, the track listing of featured samples on this album. I mean, she's released who they've sampled. Grace Jones is a featured guest. Now
that's dangerous. Okay.
Now my interest is really piqued. And she's also sampled Moi Renee on this album. Now, for me, a gay man of a certain age who was around in the clubs when Moi Renee was around and had the one famous hit, Miss Honey, don't you hear me calling you Miss Honey? I know you hear me calling you Miss Honey. The bitch knew that I'd be back. She knew that I was not gone long, Miss Honey. And my friend Bobby used to love that song. So the fact that that is sampled on there from a track that Honey Dijon did, my interest is quite piqued. So Friday, come on, 29th. I'm ready to hear what you got, Miss Beyonce, because I think you're really trying to make us dance this summer, and I'm not
I
angry
think
at
she's
that
trying.
at all.
No, and she's also trying to get a hit. I mean, because
Well,
she's
she has
one
the
album. A hit album. I mean,
her albums are always hits. That's the thing about her albums. They're always hits. Not had a flop album. So
no, but I mean by hit is I think she would like to be more than a think piece at this point.
Right.
Lemonade
Right.
was a great album, but it was a think piece album.
Yeah.
You did not hear it. She wants to be able to forward and as she look, for me, as much as I liked Lemonade and I admired it, for me, Countdown, that's Beyonce for me. Crazy in Love. Love on
Countdown
Top.
is so
I know that,
fucking
you know.
4 is my favorite album. And that was
Countdown. Why wasn't Countdown like perfect song?
Do you want to know? This is just my opinion, and I felt that when I was working. Countdown, the 4 album came at a very pivotal time. That was first album where she had split with Matthew. And she was really saying, after the huge success of I Am Sasha Fierce, which was just a big pop explosion all around the world, you know, that gave us Halo as Single Ladies. He did not want to get caught into the trap of just being, I could just make this other pop record. And to me, that was an artist really taking control of her career, saying, I'm going to make the record I want to make. And that's her artist record. And there was all of this weird shit. I don't know if you remember this. In the press, all of a sudden, it was all these weird blind items like record company not happy. They're scared about new Beyonce album. They don't think it's going to be a hit. It was a weird thing playing out in the press. So then the album comes, and now the first single is Run the World. And, you know, I've talked on another show where I felt like that wasn't, the timing on that is what killed that. So then they got nervous. And they didn't really work it the way they should. So the album comes and it debuts #1 around the world. And I felt like they were trying to play on the record company side catch up. Now in Europe, the singles were faring much better. Like Love on Top and Countdown. Countdown to me is a #1 record. That is and Love on Top, just those key changes, all of that. Every time she performs that song, everybody lose their shit. Every time I'm out in a club or something, you put on Love on Top, people lose their shit. So it was really a wasted moment. And I don't think they knew what to do with that, Beyonce, because all of a sudden, she gave you these songs that weren't traditional pop, right? And they just didn't know what to do. Yeah. I think that they were like, oh my God, she's actually, that's when, you know, that like that Saturday Night Live clip when it's like the time when the people realized Beyonce's black. I think that was the moment they realized, oh, because the songs were much more R&B in focus than they were used to getting. They were always used to getting something that had R&B in it, but it definitely gave you mainstream ready. And now here comes this record that's really a different vibe for her, which sets her on her path to create freedom for real. And they just didn't know what to do. And I remember it just seemed really weird.
I still think it'll be interesting, like I said. I mean, look, she's going to do, you know, I think she's 2 albums away from then kind of going away, you know. So I love to hear it. You know, dance. I have, you know, a smart dance record is always
That's such
a great
weird
thing.
prediction. Why do you think that?
Because she's going to be in her mid-40s and the music industry has no use for women past a certain age. It's not because of her lack of talent.
Barbra Streisand is still on Columbia Records.
It's a different kind of artist. Come on, Barbra Streisand. It's a different kind of artist. Beyonce is. I'm just saying
as far as career and legacy. I think Beyonce.
No, I'm not saying career or legacy. I'm talking about the public. We are youth obsessed, and Beyonce is scrutinized. All women are scrutinized in a way that male artists aren't. I mean, and I think that Beyonce is someone who image is so much a part of it, and it's not that it's fair or not fair, and people are not kind to women in this industry. They're not kind to women to begin with. So I'm just saying that if she takes time off, we've talked about this. Do people want to see a 50-year-old woman up there doing dance numbers? I don't know if they do, and it's not fair to her.
I think a lot of women love her, and I think that she will be able
I'm not saying women don't love her.
I'm just giving my opinion, which is different than yours. I think she will be just fine until the day she decides she doesn't want to. I think that people will always be receptive to what she's got, and
I hope so.
she's got that thing with the gay men, the way we love her, the way gay men we love Madonna. We didn't stop. We still, even though Madonna's crazy, we still show up for her. You know what I mean? Like,
right, but let me
still
say
has
this.
Madonna just stopped making the kind of records that could be a Madonna hit. You know, she was like, I want to do these different kind of records.
All right, so it'll be interesting if Beyonce. All right, first off, Beyonce and Madonna are completely different people. Beyonce is obviously there's not as the same issues.
But we're
on
talking
with
about
Beyonce.
it's not about issues. We're talking about age. We're talking about age.
No,
and
I
working
just think
through.
that the industry is not very kind to women. That's all. That was my point. The industry. It's not that she doesn't have the talent. She doesn't have the fan base. She doesn't have the material.
They don't. But I think, that's such a general statement, right? Because I look at somebody, I'm comparing like a Madonna. Confessions on the Dance Floor, she was 45. The music album, she was like 42. You can be in your 40s and still have hits and still going. You know what I mean? I think, yes, the industry can be really shady, but she's different. You know what I mean? I think she's in a lane by herself, and she can just always keep going, and people will show up and they will buy
I'm just
it
saying
and
that
they'll love
every
it.
article about, and again, Madonna is a whole different, but every article is always prefaced with women artists of their age, they're too old. It's always that, and it's just
Yeah,
a reality.
but think about when Madonna was young, how they were writing about her. It was the same. They were dismissing her. They found different things to dismiss her for when she was younger. From the beginning, they always dismissed her. So of course, just getting older made it easy to say, "All right, now she's old." Then they can just throw that on.
Right.
But
I
they
mean, what
always tried to
Beyonce
find a
has in
way.
her favor is that Beyonce is a singer. And Beyonce is, has generated, we've talked about this, a lot more goodwill.
Absolutely.
And Beyonce is a powerhouse in a way. They're completely, to compare the two of them, for me, I shouldn't even be doing that because it's not fair, because men don't get compared against each other the way women get compared against each other. They're completely different artists. One has nothing to do with the other. They're in completely different lane.
Yep.
I'm just saying that as a woman, in my 60s, I have seen how women are treated as we get older. And that is I hope that people are expansive enough and accepting enough to accept anything that comes from a woman artist when they're in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, without judging the age appropriateness of it. That's all. That's all. Well,
the good thing now is she's in her 40s now, and she's having one of her biggest hits in years. So that makes me happy. And this is the first record, in years that I've had nothing to do with. So I'm excited to hear it like everybody else. When everybody else hears it, I'm excited to see the visuals. And I hope she goes on tour because, if she makes a dance record, I know
she's going to have to tour, right?
You're going to have to, there's no way you make this kind of record
and sit at home with it.
You got to bring this one to the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And turn it out. And I just feel like that will be a full good time.
Maybe a miracle will happen and I'll finally get to see her perform.
I
know. Me neither. Don't even,
I couldn't believe that you had never seen Madonna until Madam X. I'm like, you've seen everybody. How is 20 million tours roll through the city?
I did see, though, Destiny's Child at a track date in an amphitheater in Miami with Eagle Eye Cherry opening up for them. So top that, Courtney Montgomery.
I was like, do not...
No, I did not. I said Courtney Montgomery.
Oh, that's before you almost said...
No, Montgomery. I would never. Courtney Montgomery.
Oh my God. Can I just tell you something? I'm literally melting. I just felt
we should wrap this up because we're literally dripping sweat.
And the funny thing is, it's like they're like, oh, the temperature has gone down. It's warm.
No, it hasn't.
I'm like, where, bitch? I'm sweating like a hoe in church.
I can't see you right now because my eyes are fogging over. All right, take us out because I'm drowning.
Can we just talk about that shady? Have you seen things with the shady, that Brooklyn pastor who wears all of the designer clothes and the jewelry, who evidently supposedly got robbed on camera, and now he's cursing people out online? There's some crazy, y'all. It's just, we're living in a bucket of crazy. We are. So on that note, it's Leo season.
I don't know what that means.
Yes, no, the king of the jungle. It's his season. Okay? Leo season. Leo. Our time. Leo season. Hi, everyone. You know what it is. Thank you for listening to us every week on the Pantheon Podcast Network. Check us out at Pantheon, where there are over 70 dynamic music shows. Every kind of thing you want to know about music, including now expanding to shows talking about the early days of cable. There's a lot of good stuff going on, so check us out there. You can also check us out on Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish, all one word, Instagram at ImmaLetYouFinishNY, Twitter at FinishIma, Twitch at twitch.tv/CourtMonty. We're also now on YouTube. Pantheon has an official YouTube page. And our shows, they upload our shows to YouTube. So, yeah, you can hear us there too.
Let's not start doing visuals until we stop sweating, because
Well,
we
no,
really
and
look
all
like
of thank God, everything
crackheads.
up there is audio on there. Thank goodness.
God.
Listen,
Thank God.
before we were like, let's do video, then we tried that. We're like, let's not do that.
Yeah. Let's not.
That was a quick.
That was
No.
a quick one. That was like literally like, no.
It's like, let's
Nah.
X-nay on the video,
X-nay on the video skate. Yeah.
It was not the lick, kids.
Yeah,
It was
no,
not the
we
lick.
would have been like those women in the music industry past a certain age. It was like, nah, not feeling it.
I mean, can I just say,
Yeah.
so how's your summer going so far? Like, have you been,
You talking to me?
yeah, how's it?
Oh, God, it's great. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's almost over.
Have you been going around to the park around the corner and dealing with all of that shit, the shenanigans and things?
No, I don't go anywhere. I try to avoid people.
But you're still doing your Thursdays at the pantry.
Yes. And Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Oh, I didn't know you did more than one.
I'm an anointed person, Courtney.
Oh.
Yeah.
And on that note,
I wish you lived close by. I would
know.
lace you with some goodies.
I know you said do they have the ice cream?
No. Oh, God, that was a moment in time. All right, I don't even want to think about that, because I think about those ice cream sandwiches, and it was like the best boyfriend I ever had.
Next week on this show, when you speak to us, one of us will be 1 year older and a little bit wiser.
Happy. Roar. What do you think? Are you doing anything for your birthday, or are you just...
No, I decided
Aging.
this year, listen, yeah, that part. You know what I mean? I'll probably just go grab something to eat with Fred and Tyrus in the neighborhood.
Well,
after
tell them,
church.
give them a big hug for me, please.
And I'm thinking Saturday, you know, I might
Oh, nice. Cool.
kind of hang out. You know, they have house music on the pier.
Yeah, they have those great parties there.
And since it's the return of house music, evidently, according to the writers, return to the thing that never went away, I figure I will go hear some of it be returned.
Yeah, the best part about this revival of dance music, by the way, is we get to read ad nauseum think pieces by 25-year-olds about the return of something. And I personally, as a huge fan of Christopher Columbus, can't wait for that. And
But-
on that note...
And my favorite part is then they list the important artists in the genre, and you read, and it's like, that's not the one
House
stuff.
music.
But okay, but who am I to make a comment? We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
It never dawned on me how much walking I used to do until I bought a house in the suburbs. Like when I'd say, I'm going for coffee, of course I was walking, but now it's like 3 miles and no latte's worth that. I find myself inviting people on walks with me like it's a scheduled activity. This morning, my neighbor asked me what I'm doing, and I actually said, I'm going for a walk with Nancy.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's fantasypoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. Fantasypoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.